Hi everyone, I'm Aira. While he's playing, I'll help you voice and analyze this match. It's important not only what he does, but also why he makes these decisions at every moment. Enjoy watching. Let's start with the pick phase. He doesn't pick in immediately. He waits until the last few seconds because he wants to see both team compositions before making a decision. He was choosing between Fragrance and Celestia, but once he saw the picks in the map, it became clear that Celestia fits better here. Fragrance doesn't work well in this setup. The team isn't playing as a tight group. Meredith plays deeper. Ciela dives in on this map. Survivability matters more than tempo. The enemy team has a lot of damage and their armor will melt quickly, so Celestia is the safer and more consistent choice. At the start of the round, if it's his first game on a character, he always shoots the wall a few times. That helps him immediately readjust to the recoil. During the buy phase, he also watches his teammates. You can often tell who already made a decision and who is still thinking just by their movement. After that, he checks the enemy composition and ping again. Two of their long-range players have high ping, so instead of investing into early ability, tempo, he chooses heavy armor. On Convoy with Celestia, a larger armor pool is usually more valuable than faster recovery, since Celestia already restores armor efficiently. At the start of the round, he still respects the sniper. Even with high ping, she can still eliminate him with a single clean shot. So instead of challenging her angle directly, he starts from the left side, playing around the payload. While moving it, he keeps checking the radar and waits for his team to take proper positions. That of Furman, only after that does he step away from the payload, so he can use his weapon and abilities more freely. Here he notices that he can safely destroy the upper launcher, so he takes that opportunity. After that, he continues supporting his team with both damage and utility. A few times, he intentionally peeks aggressively. After the first shot, snipers often expect you to become overly cautious. He uses that expectation against her, but only in controlled moments. He doesn't repeat that risk unnecessarily. At this point, his teammates start dying without trades. To him, that means the enemy is winning their angles, and they will soon collapse on him, since he is the one pushing the payload. But there is still a small window. Instead of leaving immediately, he pushes the payload under the bridge first. This is important because once the payload is under the bridge, it becomes much harder for defenders to control it. Now he sees that several enemies are still committed to their positions. Kokona hasn't repositioned. Nobunaga is still holding the long left corridor. Audrey is still locked into her line. But Celestia on the right side is isolated. That becomes the weak point. Instead of following the main flow, he rotates with Ciela to the right side. Once Celestia backs off, that entire side opens up, allowing them to apply pressure from two directions. This is what breaks the enemy's setup. After winning the fight, his focus is not on chasing kills. The priority is to convert that win into payload progress. He returns to the payload, allows his teammates to take better positions, and immediately starts restoring their armor. When Audrey's launcher starts firing, he identifies her position, but doesn't focus on her. At this point, she is no longer the main threat. Instead, he plays disciplined around the payload and avoids exposing his position unnecessarily. The main problem here comes from Audrey and Nobunaga rotating onto his teammates. He and Meredith need to deal with that quickly before the rest of the enemy team returns. In the end, they missed the first point by a very small margin. If we look at it honestly, several factors contributed to that failure. But the biggest one was Meredith's wall. The idea was correct. It was meant to buy time, but it was placed slightly too close and a bit too early. Because of that, it blocked vision not only for the enemy, but also for his own team. At the same time, teammates died quickly, the enemy returned faster, and Kokona gained a very comfortable angle to pick them off one by one. If that wall had been placed slightly farther, and a few seconds later, they likely would have secured the first point right there. After respawning, he stays closer to the center of his team. At this point, his role is not to force plays, but to stabilize the regroup and support the push properly. Kokona immediately shows her angle again. That tells him exactly where his teammates need to disengage first. At the same time, Celestia is positioned on the right side of the bridge, applying pressure from range. His teammates are focused on escaping Kokona's angle, which means Celestia is left uncontested. If he doesn't deal with her, she will keep applying free pressure. So instead of following the team directly, he shifts his attention and forces Celestia to back off. After that, he restores armor and moves forward again. Here he notices Meredith rotating to the right side. At the same time, enemy Celestia allows that rotation to happen. It suggests that Celestia might be planning to collapse later, either from the flank or from behind his team. After that, he rotates to support Ciela on the flank. But before committing, he checks whether it is safe to move there. He arrives just in time, restores her armor, and together they secure another elimination. However, this is where the mistake happens. At this point, they should disengage. The enemy is already aware of their position. The element of surprise is gone, and Flavia is extremely dangerous in close range. He understands that, but there is a small hesitation, and that hesitation costs Ciela her life. After that, he doesn't try to force a hero play. He sees that his ultimate is ready, and shifts his goal. Instead of chasing kills, he focuses on wasting time, pulling Flavia away from the payload, and then safely returning to his team. That's exactly what he does. Right after that, he switches Celestia into burst fire mode. The reasoning is simple. At this point, the team already has enough close range pressure. What they lack is reliable support at longer distances. Burst fire improves accuracy at range, making it more effective in this situation. Then he notices something important. Both the enemies Celestia and Flavia are now focused on Ming. That changes the situation completely. Their presence on the payload is now weaker. Instead of staying in that side fight, he shifts his focus back to the objective. He continues supporting his team from range while constantly checking what is happening around Ming. Once he confirms that the enemies are still chasing her, he fully commits to helping the payload. This decision gives his team enough pressure to secure the first point. After securing the first checkpoint, he immediately pushes forward to catch two late enemies off guard. At this point, he can play more freely. The objective is already secured. He pressures them, buying time until his teammate joins together. They take down Celestia and shift onto Flavia. She manages to regroup with Nobunaga, and he immediately recognizes the danger. If they ignore him, he can punish them from range, so he takes the trade. He commits onto him, draws attention, and goes down. But it creates space. His teammate secures the kill on Flavia and safely disengages. And since he is already tracking respawns, he returns almost instantly. So the trade is fully worth it. After respawning, he checks his economy 527 credits and quickly evaluates his options. Instead of going for Astral Armor, he chooses Starlight. If enemies want to stop the payload, they have to commit close, and that's exactly where Starlight is strongest. He rotates back to the payload and tries to support a teammate deep on the enemy side, but he doesn't make it in time, so he instantly adjusts. Instead, he moves upward to Ming, who is low. He heals her and draws attention away, giving her space to escape while rotating. From his angle, he notices the enemy Celestia disengaging, so he immediately turns and punishes them from the back, and together they finish Celestia. Then he shifts again. Ciela is deep, so he supports her by pressuring Kokona and forcing her to retreat. He turns to the back line. Lavina is under pressure. He assists her, and together they eliminate Flavia. With that done, he resets to the objective and continues pushing. At the same time, he stays disciplined. He uses the payload as cover from Kokona, since he doesn't have vision on her, and she can Ona-shot him. Once he spots her position on the radar, he moves ahead of the payload while still pushing it. From there, he acts as both pressure and bait. If they see him, they either slow down and shoot him. At the same time, he notices two teammates go down. Then Flavia activates her ultimate. He immediately disengages. He stops fighting and repositions. That timing saves him. From a safer position, he waits for the situation to stabilize, and he re-engages from a strong angle, supporting his team without overexposing. They eliminate Celestia again. With that pressure gone, he steps back onto the payload, and from there, they push it to the second checkpoint. After reaching the second checkpoint, the team starts clearing the remaining enemies. At this stage, they can play more freely. There's even a moment where his aim completely falls apart. He fires a full magazine at Kokona. He switches to Ember Spit. At close range, it's more reliable. After that, he follows Ciela and restores her armor and health. Flavia drops a smoke while firing through it. He realizes Celestia is missing a moment later. He hears footsteps below. She is rotating. He immediately switches focus to stop the flank. Then comes a critical mistake. He holds the right side entrance. From behind a column, the idea is correct, but not for his role. As a support, he should apply pressure early. Instead, he waits. Flavia closes the distance. He takes the fight, but cannot secure the kill, and goes down. After respawning, he upgrades his build, headshot damage, and survivability. He rotates right to deal with Flavia, but two teammates go down. He immediately turns back to support. Meredith plays too loosely and gets eliminated again. At the same time, the enemy Celestia overcomes and is punished. He briefly touches the payload to stop it from rolling back, then disengages. Once the team regroups, they move in together. He spots Nobunaga low and goes for the kill. This is where the fight breaks. He initiates like a damaged player, but there is no follow-up. The team doesn't react. The fight collapses. Meredith gets eliminated from behind. Lavina hesitates. Ming stays separated. Ciela arrives too late and is focused down. The team is split. After respawning, they move back to the payload. He applies pressure and denies space. But Meredith pushes alone again. Her wall blocks vision for both sides. No one can support her. She goes down. Celestia is traded in return. From the right, Flavia applies pressure. Ciela arrives and finishes her. He supports her, and they push forward. Meredith returns and uses her ultimate. At the same time, Nobunaga counters with his own. He reacts quickly and shuts it down, but the initial scan is enough. Meredith is eliminated. Her ultimate is lost. He returns to the payload. Flavia is there. He trades shots while checking the radar, then disengages. Flavia uses her ultimate. He regroups with Ming and waits. But when the team arrives, they fight separately. One by one, they go down. He tries to support, but cannot cover everyone. Time is running out for minutes to less than 1. The team regroups again, but nothing changes. He continues to support, but becomes too passive as a support. He should stay with the team. Instead, he plays too far back and loses impact. The team collapses again. He tries to disengage, but is eliminated. On the final respawn, he runs toward the payload. But there is no time left, and the match ends there. In the end, this match wasn't decided by mechanics. There were strong moments, good decisions, and even winnable fights. But over time, small mistakes started to stack. Fights were taken separately, positions weren't synchronized, and coordination slowly disappeared. At the same time, even the correct decisions lost their impact because there was no follow-up. As a support, his role was to stabilize the team. But under pressure, he became too passive and lost influence on the fight. From that point, the game was no longer under control, and without coordination, there was no way to recover. This wasn't a single mistake, it was a gradual loss of structure, and that's what decided the match. If you enjoyed this kind of analysis, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps shape future videos and improve the format. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.